All set?
I know, amazing,
I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting Tuesday, November 28th, 2017. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Sorese?
Here.
Mr. Roden?
Here.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. Steele?
Here.
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Ms. McFerrin?
Here.
Please rise for the invocation and pledge. Father, we seek your guidance for the business that is before us. In planning for the future of the city of Twinsburg, give us vision. Guide us to make decisions that are not self-serving, but for the betterment of our community, so we can continue to move in a positive direction. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes from November 14th. Are there any changes or corrections, anyone? Then let it show the minutes are approved as written. Awards and presentations, none?
We actually do have some. Mrs. Stoffer, I believe you have something to start.
Something here for Mr. Fury.
Mr.
Oh, Mr. Rose.
Wishful thinking, right?
There you go, Sam. There you go, Sam. Always starting.
She said it, I didn't.
What's she?
I got something for Mr. Fury.
So this is, whereas.
That's a lot of work.
Whereas, on behalf of the administration, employees, and residents of the city of Twinsburg, City Council joins with the family and friends of Seth Roden in offering its sincere appreciation for his 8 years of dedicated service on City Council. And whereas Seth Roden was first elected to represent Ward 5 as its City Council in November of 2009 and was sworn into that position on December 1st, 2009. Seth successfully retained the Ward 5 seat when he was reelected in 2013. And whereas over the last 8 years, Seth has professionally and diligently served the residents of the city of Twinsburg in general and Ward 5 in particular with an honest and even-handed approach to the issues. And whereas during his time on council, Seth has served as a council representative on the Parks and Recreation Commission, Safety Commission, Twins Day Committee, Fitness Advisory Board, Community Relations, Finance Committee, Public Works Commission. Seth has also brought his own unique and entertaining style during his term as both president and vice president of City Council. And whereas Seth's most significant contribution may have been his role on the Environmental Commission as the council representative for all of his 8 years as a councilman. Daisy Walker fondly recalls Seth always said, "Boy, you guys have come a long way." To which Daisy added, "Seth was one of the major reasons we have come so far." And whereas Councilman Roden, with the help of his family, was a driving force to make the Hanukkah celebration light the night, an anticipated holiday tradition among city residents. And whereas outside of his regular council duties, Seth has devoted his time and expertise in the hospitality industry to the Twinsburg Orchestra Boosters as its event coordinator and has been a tremendous asset as a consultant for the new restaurant and banquet center at Glen Eagle Golf Course. And whereas Seth, his wife Marianne, and their children Max and Sophie will continue to be active in events with both the city and the schools in the upcoming years. Now therefore be it proclaimed that City Council, on behalf of administration, friends, associates, all of the past and present public servants with whom he has served, and particularly on behalf of the residents of the city of Twinsburg, do hereby thank Seth Roden for his years of dedicated service and express our continued appreciation and gratitude for his generous contribution of time, energy, and wisdom to the betterment of the city of Twinsburg. And this is from all of us. Thank you, Seth.
See that for sure.
And
Lori.
now Bill Ferry's got it.
Mr. Ceresi, if you could come around for a second. Nobody hates being recognized more than Gary Ceresi. Absolutely. On behalf of council, we would like to give you this gavel as a remembrance of your time as council president. This is a change because usually we give a plaque, but he's made them for the last 10 years, so we had to find something else to do. And you have a proclamation. Whereas, on the behalf of the administration, employees, and residents of the city of Twinsburg, City Council joins with the family and friends of Gary Ceresi in offering its sincere appreciation for his 12 years of dedicated service to City Council. And whereas Gary Ceresi was first appointed to City Council in December of 2005 as the Ward 3 representative and was subsequently re-elected by the voters of Twinsburg as an at-large councilman in 2009 and 2013. Whereas Gary has diligently served the residents of the city of Twinsburg with a no-nonsense approach to his role as a councilman. His decisions were based upon what he believed were his best interests of the residents of the city, regardless of politics. Whereas during his tenure of council, Gary has served on every board and commission, including Park and Recs, Planning, Charter Review, Twins Days, Capital Improvement. Gary has also served as the chairman of the Safety Committee, the Finance Committee, while serving as multiple terms as council president. Whereas, while at council, Gary Ceresi was instrumental in establishing the Community Relations Board, designed to improve relations with neighboring communities, and he was the driving force in establishing the Charter Review Oversight Committee. Whereas the Ceresi family includes his wife Gloria, surrounded by their children Melissa, Brian, and Joe, and 4 grandchildren, City Council's loss of Gary's time and energy will certainly be to their gain. Now, therefore, be proclaimed by the City Council, on behalf of the administration, friends, and associates, all the past and present public service with whom we have served, and particularly on behalf of the residents of the city of Twinsburg, do hereby thank Gary Ceresi for his years of dedicated service and express our continued appreciation and gratitude for his generous contribution of time, energy, and wisdom to the betterment of the city of Twinsburg.
I do have something else for you guys. Just so you
He's got one more thing.
don't have my thing. Gary, I miss you
Show him.
She got a good deal. She got a good deal on those.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
Show it, Jeff.
Just in case you need something to remember.
You see this?
Slide.
That's a picture of me on socks, that's fantastic. I know my son will be wearing these to
just so
school
you-
for
just so you
sure.
know.
Max will be wearing these for school for sure, I know he will.
So Gary, when you're...
Look out now.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Tell Matt thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, audience participation.
Yes, first we have Daisy Walker and Scott Barr. They're coming up, they're tag teaming it.
Got a duo tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Maestros, council, and staff. We just want to read something, a nice little poem for Seth, who's been with us for 8 years. We really appreciate all the help that you've done, the growth that we have achieved, and I'll just start off by saying that Councilman Seth Roden, isn't it amazing how God brings the right people into your life at the right time? Seth, you listened to our ideas, supported our events with your presence, celebrated our victories, and encouraged us, the Twinsburg Environmental Commission, to never give up. We did not just learn, we experienced.
We did not just read, we absorbed.
We did not just change, we transformed.
We did not just think, we pondered.
We did not just take, we gave.
We did not just see, we felt.
We did not just hear, we listened.
And we did not just talk, we acted.
We did not just tell, we showed.
We did not just exist, we lived.
You have helped us to achieve our environmental vision, and you inspired us to be what we knew we could be. Thank you, Seth.
Councilman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. We love you and the best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think what they're saying is you can stay on the
Next.
Next, we have Bill Hahn.
Before I start my 5 minutes, I'd like to, Linda and I would both like to say that we could stand up here and speak of all the many, many good things that we do in our city and the timeliness of the many events that go on in our city. And after 5 minutes, I'd probably hear a buzzer. And after 30 minutes, I'd probably get a gong show, whatever they did on the gong show, right? So I'm not going to say that, but I am going to give a speech here which is about less than 5 minutes. And this is from Bill and Linda Hahn, my wife, 2410 Upper Warren Parkway. The reason Linda and I are speaking this evening is to discuss and recommend that in the future, our alarm systems must be activated before severe weather strikes the Twinsburg city area. We want to make it clear that what we are mentioning is not after the fact. However, we will give 3 examples of why our sirens should have been set off before severe weather struck Twinsburg. Number 1, Sunday evening, November 5th, at about 6:45, we received a phone call from our daughter Suzanne in Columbus, Ohio, asking us if we are aware of severe storm warnings, and then telling us to turn on our televisions. Number 2, we turned on Channel 3 and saw Cleveland meteorologist Betsy Kling reporting severe storms and potential tornadoes in northwest Ohio that were traveling east. Meteorologist Betsy Kling is a Monday through Friday reporter on television. However, here she was reporting severe storms on a Sunday evening. Number 3, we then turned on Channel 5 and saw Cleveland meteorologist Mark Johnson reporting severe storms and potential tornadoes exactly as Betsy Kling had reported. In addition, Mark Johnson said, and we quote, "Get into your comfort area, hallways, and stay away from windows," end quote. Shortly after, heavy rains followed by heavy winds struck our house. At no time did we hear our Twinsburg city sirens before or after the heavy rains and heavy winds that struck Twinsburg. On Tuesday morning, November 7th, 2 days after the microburst, we heard a Twinsburg city official say to Channel 8 I-Team investigative reporter who asked, why did Twinsburg sirens not be set off? And I quote, this person said, "We can't set off the alarms every time there is a storm. This is not the way to operate," end quote. As we all know, this was not just a storm. This was a microburst with potential tornadoes. Further, at our city council meeting Tuesday, November 14th, there were many deserving comments about being proud of our city employees and the work they performed. Linda and I agree. However, at no time did the Safety Committee have on their agenda a discussion about the severe storms on Sunday, November 5th. We hesitate to say there were some smiling and laughing persons at that meeting who appeared happy that they were out of town and missed the storm. It was not humorous to people with small children who needed to be kept warm and fed. It was not humorous to people who had to pay for a hotel room. And it was not humorous to people who had to throw food away. At the Safety Committee meeting, would this have been a good time to ask the following questions? How many sirens do we have in Twinsburg? Where are these sirens located? Do we require more sirens? What are the events we should set off the sirens in addition to tornadoes? Do we have a meteorologist in Twinsburg, or is one needed? What person has the responsibility of activating sirens? Should more than one person have this responsibility? These were just our questions. There could have been more that could have been brought up and weren't. It was also mentioned by one city official that only one crew was out on November 7th. And today, Tuesday 28th, I was told only one cleanup crew was out working. Are we to believe that it will be next spring that work will be completed? Our city, Twinsburg City crews need help to get this cleanup work completed next month. How did this microburst affect Han Electric, my company? On Monday, November 6th, one day after the storm, we were not able to conduct a meeting from my office in Twinsburg, our corporate offices in Michigan, and a certain large customer in Ohio. This was because of the storm. And the hotel that Linda and I went to was not able to help us with our electronic connections. We could not have that meeting. And I was blamed, by the way, in part. Linda and I suggest an immediate Twinsburg City review by our fire department, police department, city administration, and city council to discuss ways we can make our safety systems better. As always, we thank you and we do wish you well.
Thank you. Next.
Last, we have Howard Walker.
Thank you for having me, City Council members, and thank you for new coming members. I understand what our subject contains may be more for the next meeting, but the sincere, excuse me, I'm nervous, but the severity of the situation is something I needed to come and speak about. I am Howard Walker. I live at 10346 Fox Hollow Circle. I'm the president of the HOA for the Fox Hollow Ryan Home community. I'm also here representing the new Boulderbrook community of Ryan Homes just around the corner. At present, 18 residents have been affected by an individual of Cat Landscaping, of which who recently had his bond revoked. He's applied mechanic liens because of the scam. Quite frankly, he's a convicted con artist, and he got everybody in these residents. There are mechanic liens on, at present, that I know of, 8 properties. I've spoken with Russ Roddick about it, as well as tried to do something with the Twinsburg police. At this point, although I'm part of this situation, I'm more a part of it in the fact that I'm aware of the situation as far as how it affected the members of my personal community as well as the other, because I actually went out to find out just how many people were affected by this. Several members are here now. We're talking of the neighborhood of somewhere of about $100,000 to $120,000 that this man is finagled out of people without the work to back it up. Moreover, we got mechanic liens in the amount so far that I know of $60,000 against brand new homeowners, brand new residents of the Twinsburg community. Need to know, I'm thinking the law director may know a little bit about this through Russ. At least he had told me that. But we need to know if the council has any type of power to protect the homeowners in this situation. None of these residents has been here over 2 years. Not a single one. None of their homes are over 2 years old. And we have a person that is, quite frankly, raping the Twinsburg community. And there needs to be something done. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I could, I had conversations with Mr. Roddick when he brought this up, which was pretty recently, and told him at that time to make sure we pull his bond, to make sure that at least he's not holding himself out, that he's bonded by the city of Twinsburg and authorized to do this, and to make sure that we, whatever list we have as a city or the building department, to notify people that there's been concerns with that particular landscaper. At the time, my conversation with Mr. Rodick, I had no idea there was mechanics liens filed on the property owners. I'd be certainly more than happy to talk to all of you about how to go about resolving those issues. There's certain steps you can take. I've done that with other city residents, not regarding this company, but, and, you know, we could look at it. I mean, I think that, you know, the first steps that was presented by the building department, well, let's pull, make sure the bond is pulled, and, you know, I'm not sure any of us had any idea the extent of it is, that it affected that many residents, so.
Mr. Maestros, can you give the residents your card?
I'll make sure they all get my card, and we'll start getting names and dollar amounts and contact the Attorney General. I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to speak with the AG's office on this, but, but we could have conversations with the Attorney General's office to make sure that they have a pretty strong arm and be able to handle these things. And we've used them in the past with roofers in the city that have done similar things. So.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I believe, you know, in the future, in terms of protecting residents, I'm not sure how many residents actually contacted the building department prior to entering into a contract with the particular company or individual. So if we do have history or known, and there's certain list of contractors that we do have that we know the more successful ones and not. So we can't help in any way that possible. I know Mr. Maestos mentioned the Attorney General office. I thought I saw something that came through. I get a lot of email that was talking about CAT construction and Attorney General investigation. We will follow up on that and see what we can find out. So if we do get your information, we can try to reach back out to you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question on this?
Who are you asking?
Just,
Oh, okay.
okay. Is this through Ryan Holmes that you got this guy, or no, he just came into the neighborhood and said, you individually talked to him?
No, I need to go back up there.
No.
Yes.
With the Fox Hollow, he actually came over and met the residents individually and did contracts with them. Like I said, it's quite a bit of that situation there.
Okay.
With the voter group, actually Ryan Holmes, their contractor, Gary, represented him, I don't know if they represented, recommended him to several of the residences, and they all got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Fury?
I wanted to respond briefly to Mr. Hahn's concerns. I know that there are 3 sirens within the city, and we test them the first Monday at noon every month, and they're all and they're all in working order at this time. But we did discuss creating a new policy, because right now they're only used for tornadoes. And we discussed this in a caucus within the last 2 weeks after the safety committee meeting. The mayor was going to work with the fire chief to come up with potentially a new policy. We don't have one now, but they're working on it. But right now they're only used for the tornadoes.
Yeah, just a couple comments. Sorry, I'm just giving. Yeah, we debriefed. I think the city did a really good job during the storm. I know one of the concerns that was brought up by several residents was the siren situation. Assistant Chief Basso generally controls when that happens. He monitors it very closely. We typically look for tornado warnings that are being broadcasted for our immediate area or an adjacent area with movement toward Twinsburg. And I know his decision to not, run the sirens was based off the fact that there was not a tornado that was predicted to hit Twinsburg. We did get what we found out later was a microburst, or because of the wind speed, they call it a macroburst. It was a new term to me. They can't predict those. Meteorologists cannot predict if a microburst is going to come down. And if you look at tornadoes in their past, they have very specific paths. This thing hit our whole city. The cleanup is overwhelming out there right now. So I'm not sure where you got your information about the cleanup crews, but we mobilized. We had an all-in call the night that happened. So to all the firemen, all policemen, and all service guys. I had 12 service guys show up that went out with trucks that evening to start clearing roads with chainsaws and front-end loaders. And we had firemen securing areas that were out for traffic lights. We had 8 power lines down across Liberty Road. We were trying to protect. There was a lot of stuff going on. That next morning, I did an all-call to other municipalities and said, can I get any equipment? Within 30 minutes, I had equipment being delivered from both Kent and Stowe. Streetsboro sent me a crew and equipment. So we had 5 crews. Typically, we run 2 crews. That's what we have for branch chipping. We were running 5 crews for 2 weeks. I kept Stowe and Kent's equipment until they basically called me and said, you got to get it back. And we ran those crews. We're currently running 2 crews and 4 leaf crews right now. So we have 6 crews out there picking up. I went out the Friday on Veterans Day, recognized here, with our service crew and branch chipped for 8 hours with them. We spent 8 hours, did 60 yards of material on one side street, Bissell. So there's a lot of material out there. It was a long day. And our guys are working hard, and we're working our way through the city, and we've had discussions regarding, do we have to bring in an outside contractor to do it? We're going to get through December and see how far we can get. But again, you know, I've mentioned a lot to the residents, just be patient. I know there's piles still out there, but our guys are working real hard. We've processed probably 2,500 yards worth of material. It's a lot. It's a mountain of leaves and branches and wood chips. So we will get to you. But again, you know, I'm not sure. We got definitely more than 1 crew out there. So that's all I have.
Thank you. And I think we all know many of the concerns that Mr. Hahn addressed were actually discussed at our last council meeting, and the mayor addressed the things he just repeated this evening. You may not have seen that television show, but that stuff was discussed and in fact mentioned the possible changes coming forward because of the situation. So I think we're heading in the right direction, and we thank you for your input, though. We know there's a lot of concerned people, but I think the mayor and the crews are on top of it. Anything else? Okay, communication reports. Mr. Scafidi.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. Good evening. First, I'd like to start with the Board of Zoning Appeals. We had a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting on November 22nd. The board heard appeal number 11, 2017. This appeal was to overturn the building commissioner's decision to deny a permit based on the proposed improvements location with respect to section 1144.0 8B. Well, typically what the resident was trying to do was put in a pad, a 12 by 20 pad to install a basketball hoop in his yard. And this happens to be on Fox Hollow Court. And the location of where he was trying to put this pad was too close to the other residents where it would cause a disturbance to the rest of the closest neighbors. So the building commissioner turned it down. At that meeting, we had the petitioner there, the resident, and we had another neighbor, another resident there. Both spoke. Of course, the resident that wanted it gave his reasons why he needed it and wanted this court. And the other resident was opposed to it because it was really going to affect him. He's the closest resident to the house and to where the pad was going to be. So after a lengthy discussion, the board decided that they would just table this appeal this night and give it to the resident and his neighbors to discuss and try to come up with something that might be a win-win solution for all of them. So at this point, appeal number 11, 2017 has been tabled by a 4-0 vote. And that was the end of that meeting that evening. And we do not have another meeting scheduled yet for the next meeting, for the BZA. The other thing I want to bring up under my report is earlier tonight I talked with council. I brought up the rules of council that we had recently passed, and I think that we had a pretty lengthy discussion, so I'm not going to go through it all over again. But I wanted to told council I would like to make a motion that we repeal section 11.05 of the rules of council and revert back to the old section 11.05, what we previously had. So that's my motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
I'd like to amend your motion.
Okay.
Okay.
The purpose of taking it out was because the Ward 5 council person that's going to be brought in, it would be new. I recommend that we put Ward 5 temporarily at the bottom of the list and bump the Ward 4, which was next year's, which is Mrs. Stoffer, and Ward 3 up 1 year. That way, the rotation for the people that have already been here stays the same, and you get Mrs. Stoffer and Mr. Steele as the president and vice president, as would be in the current rotation. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Bill, go through that again.
Yeah.
Right now, what
Because
Mr. Scaffidi's recommended is to take out the whole section.
Right.
I'm saying, take out the 2018 Ward 5, make the 2019 Ward 5, or Ward 4, which is Mrs. Stoffer, the 18, take the Ward 2, which is your position, which is the following year in 20, and move those up, so that the existing council people that are already here don't get moved out of the line of succession, and if we want to further change the line of succession at a future date, that's fine, but it doesn't affect the people that are already scheduled for the next two at next week's organizational meeting. That way, Mr. Scafidi will get his chance to change the order or redo this whole thing, but in the meantime, it doesn't affect the two people that are already on board and scheduled to be in those positions in the next 2 years. So, is there any discussion on my motion?
Does that satisfy?
I was just gonna ask.
What you're trying to
What
do,
is it?
Mr. Scafidi?
So wait a minute, for 18.
I don't have it in front of me.
It would be.
Alls I'm doing,
All right, let me talk, look
Sure.
at this. For 18, it would be Ward 4, 19.
Ward 2, which is.
Oh, I see, Ward 2. You moved
Which
that
is,
up.
which is the
Everybody
two
just
that are.
moves up.
Everybody just moves up one.
That really changes my motion a lot. I mean, because we were just going to take it out and then let our new council.
You wanted to take it out, I'm okay with the way it is.
Well, I know you are, but I don't think it's the fair way to do it. It's like,
Wait, your motion, this is 6 months old, voted on unanimously, written by Mrs. McFerrin and Mr. Sorese, that we had 6 weeks to review. Mr. Roden dropped out before July, within 2 months after this was passed, so we had a lot of time to figure this out. But
We
all
did two
this
motions.
does is keep the same rotation for the two people that are on council already, Mrs. Stoffer and Mr. Steele. Why, if you're worried about future rotations with new people, why, then we can just drop one thing, keep this and amend it in the future if you want, but then Mr. Steele and Mrs. Stoffer get their turns as they're scheduled now.
Is Mr. Fair
What
after
your
that
motion?
then?
I said
Yes.
your
Just curious, I don't remember
motion.
seeing,
You
I
can
mean, I don't have it in front of me.
She's
Yeah,
in
so then
21. Yeah, so and it
three of
goes right
them,
in
and then
order.
it
We already
goes.
made the motion on yours. The second.
All you're doing is
Do-
moving it
do
up.
the
And he's
call.
amending the
And then-
motion.
But then he doesn't do that after
no,
the motion is.
we gotta call a roll on the amendment,
Okay.
so.
You ready? Call the roll, please.
On the
So
amendment,
what-
on the
On
amendment.
the amendment.
Okay.
Wait.
This is on Mr. Fury's amendment to
What he's changing?
Alls I'm doing is taking,
Amending.
moving everybody up 1 year.
I just didn't know whether we're voting on his.
No,
or
we're
yours.
voting on his
We're
first.
voting on the motion to
then
change it.
add it to his, and then
It
we
takes
will-
the same, alls it does is take the Ward 5, Mr. Bell position out, who's brand new, and puts Mrs. Stoffer in as president and Mr. Steele as the vice president, as the order would have been in 2 years. So they, instead of being 19 and 20, they're going to be 18 and 19. Because we talked about having senior people on the
Right.
council that wanted to get a turn. Well, they're both senior people, and their turn's next. So by doing this, it accomplishes your short-term goal, and then we can review the whole thing at a later date.
This has the same effect as reverting the same people, but. Anyone else? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes?
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Okay. Now we have to vote
Now
on
we
the
gotta vote
motion
on
as
my
amended.
motion as amended.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
No.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
No.
Your motion passed 5-2. As amended. Are you finished, Mr. Scafidi?
Yeah, I'm done. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Mrs. Stoffer?
You know, there was an ARB meeting on November 16th that I was unable to attend, so I'll have to report at the next meeting. And I've had no other meetings.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fury?
The Park and Recs Commission will meet this Thursday, November 30th at 6:30 in City Hall. This Saturday, there's still time to register for the all-denomination Christmas party at St. Rita's. And it's our friends with special needs of all ages and faiths and their families are invited to this Christmas party December 2nd at Masnick Hall from 1 to 3 p.m. So if you have any children or young adults with special needs, you can call the rectory at 440-248-1350 or go on their website at stritaparish.com and register your child. And again, the party's this Saturday from 1 to 3, and this is be the second holding of this event. The Twinsburg Youth 8 baseball team is still doing the Twinsburg Strong fundraiser for the our Community Hunger Center. If you contact Rube Adler Sports and say that you want a Twinsburg Strong shirt, and there you can pretty much get this printed on anything you want, they will make a donation of the profit to our Community Hunger Center. And our Community Hunger Center is located at 9733 Ravenna Road in Twinsburg. It's a food bank, and it helps the people that are in need within our community. Between Christmas and Thanksgiving are a big time for them. So if you can consider donating food to them, that would be wonderful. Their phone number is 330-963-3663, which is 963 Food. That's all I have this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Roden?
Thank you. The Environmental Commission will actually meet in February. So it's February 8th, 2018 will be their next meeting here in council chambers. They've also formed an Earth Day committee. It's going to bring more interaction with people, activities, live music, environmental projects, and issues in education. So again, I'll say it to you, Daisy, you've come a long way since I started 8 years ago. It's awesome to see that. And then they're looking at creating an Adopt a Street program. It's going to be approved, but they're going to offer it to local companies, and they can get a sign put on the route that they're looking at. And then they're supposed to do like two cleanups a year or something like that. There's going to be rules and regulations to doing that. So that's coming up in the future. So that is it. Also, again, I'll remind everyone, Light the Night is Wednesday, December 13th. Everyone's invited. They have new games, new crafts, and should be, same old latkes. I don't know if you're cooking. My mom will be there. Mrs. Post will be there. Her mother, all the good, the same as it always. Good donuts and learn a little bit of Hanukkah and have a good time. So we'll see you on Wednesday, the 13th, and I believe 6 o'clock, correct, Derek? Derek, 6 o'clock? Yes. Yeah, over at the community center. So that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Steele?
The Golf Advisory Board met last night. We have an issue on the board itself. We have one person who has indicated he does not want to, he should be removed. And we also have another person who has missed his 4th meeting in a row. And I would like to take action to fill those 2 seats. I've talked to Shannon about getting an advertisement out there. The other thing that we need to do too, or not, the other big thing we talked about, and I think we're all aware of it, is the logo of the golf course. We had a spirited back and forth, I think we could say, last night about the logo. And we do, in fact, need to move forward with something with that fairly quick. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. McFerrin?
Well, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So do you feel that there's a need to have those two seats filled? Since you
Yeah,
haven't
we
had
have.
anybody there in them
Well,
anyway?
Yeah, I mean, why say there's going to be 7 people on the board and then not have people not fill the board out all the way? And I think there's enough golfers from our golf course that would be in, to find 2 people that would
Well, I'm
come and
sure.
talk about what's going on at the golf course. So, and the other thing is we don't, it's an unpaid board.
Right.
So it's more of their volunteering their time, and the more input we can get from different people, I think the better off we are.
Thank you. Ms. McFerrin?
I have nothing to report except the community relations meeting will be on December 14th at 5 o'clock. Oh, and it's in Reminder App.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of things to talk about that has gone on the last couple of weeks. I attended the senior Thanksgiving dinner that we do up at our community center. It's always a packed event. And I want to thank Laura and all the sponsors that helped put that event on. It was a fun event, and again, it was very well attended. Over this past weekend, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We had our 4th annual Luminosity that was, again, it was a beautiful night, very well attended, where we light up City Hall. So if you've never participated in it, you got to make sure next year you come out. We light up City Hall, we all march down to the square and then light up the square. But it's a fun event. It's something that was started that I think just really helps kind of bring in the holiday season here in Twinsburg. The last thing I did a pretty lengthy update on things that are going on at the clubhouse. If you've driven by it, it is an enormous project. We deal with something every single day here at City Hall, ongoing with that project. It's moving pretty much on pace. We met for a couple hours today with the contractors. It should be closed in within the next probably 3 weeks. So as you're driving by, you're going to see roof going on, siding going up, glass going in. It's going to take a whole new shape. But anyway, it's a very exciting time. We're still looking at probably the middle of summer to get it open. But I haven't really talked about it for the last few meetings, so I wanted to mention that there's things going on behind the scenes all the time with that particular project. And then just lastly, I just want to really thank Seth and Gary for their years of service. When I came onto council, they were, Seth was very, very new, and Gary had already been on council for several years, but it's been great to work with them both as a councilman over the last 8 years and as mayor. It makes life so much easier in either one of those roles to have a council that you're comfortable with, that you trust, and that you can work well with. So I just want to thank them for all their years of service. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Department
And
heads?
a couple department heads. I know Karen has requested to go first, so we'll change the order a little bit.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is for the collection for November. The income tax receipts as of today is $1,532,044.88 compared to last year, 2016, in the amount of $1,077,656. This reflects an increase of 42% or $454,388 more over last year. Refunds and adjustments in the amount of $40,733 are reflective in the November collections. And for the total year-to-date receipts collected thus far is $20,648,356 compared to last year's $19,224,362. This reflects also an increase of 7.1% or $1,423,933 more over last year. The total net change in distribution for the individual net profit and withholding is $183,310. That's all I have to report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coletta, report.
Good evening, everybody. From the Civil Service, they met on November 9th, and we're meeting again on Thursday, November 30th. We're trying to kind of double up the meetings here for a couple months to get in the analysis that we're doing for the Civil Service rules. We're meeting kind of in the conference room instead of meeting out here. It's more conducive to kind of rolling up our sleeves and getting into every single paragraph of the civil service rules and comparing those rules to city documents, various city documents, even state and local laws. We just want to make sure everything is not contradictive and that everything is current and legal. So that's been a lot of work, and we're making good progress on that. For the IT report, I have this long report here, so I won't read it all, but I will include it with the minutes so you can read it later. But basically what it is one of the biggest projects that they did recently was a top-down analysis of our communication expenses with Windstream. And they made a lot of improvements. The public Wi-Fi is going from 10 megabytes to 100 megabytes. The bandwidth at the fire station is increasing from 5 to 20. Just all kinds of stuff here. I'll let you read it. But the bottom line is that even with some fabulous improvements all over, a fitness center and everything, we're going to be saving $15,000 a year. That's just from streamlining, just getting rid of lines that we didn't need anymore, things like that. So good job for the IT department. They have also recently consolidated the Rock the Park, the Twinsburg Theater, and the twinsburgfitness.com. All those websites are on a server that's faster and more secure, so that's another project they were working on. And obviously finished up all the phone system around the city and have configured, they actually reconfigured the system for the new Glen Eagles Banquet Center using some of the things that we didn't need from other parts, and anyways, there's going to be they're increasing the network connections out there without increasing any costs too, so it's pretty cool. Like I said, I'll include that with the report. From the HR department, the mayor and Karen and I will be meeting with Oswald Companies, and that's our insurance brokers tomorrow. We're going to be reviewing our costs and discussing the healthcare renewal plans for next year. Fire negotiations are well underway. We've met with the captains and the firefighters. So far, everything's going pretty well. We're hoping to finish that before the end of the year. We're also going to be meeting with Prescription Fitness. That's the company that we partner with for our wellness program. We're going to be tweaking that a little bit for next year, so we'll be revamping some of the aspects of that program. And then one last thing is we're planning a little employee gathering, little holiday cookie gathering on December 12th. Council is invited. All the departments kind of pitch in. We all bake cookies, and out here in the lobby we have cookies and punch and coffee and that kind of thing. So they're all invited, 2 to 4 on December 12th. Thank you.
Colette, will there be any additional access points put into the fitness center? Because they were concerned with, even if the bandwidth's increased, there were still dead spots. Are they putting in additional access points to increase the connectivity?
Yes.
Yes. By the end of the year, they'll be installed, will be a mesh network.
Oh, yes.
Okay, a mesh network by the end of the year.
I'm sorry, I didn't read all that.
Thank you.
Yeah. A new wireless network designed for the fitness centers, which will be installed by the end of the year. It's a mesh network that will work more efficiently for large numbers of members who move throughout the facility. This network, coupled with a tenfold increase in internet speed, will handle the needs of not only the fitness center, but our entire public network for the unforeseen future. Like I said, I didn't want to read all this, but it'll be in the minutes for you guys.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Derek? I didn't announce all your events this time, so.
Are you done with elves?
We are done with elves, thankfully. We've been busy the last 2 months, and actually the next three weeks are kind of crazy in our department with just events. But we had the turkey trot. We had our biggest running, even though it was probably one of our more colder days that we've had in a while. Very cold. We had that back in November. Now that we own the lights, it was my crew, myself, and a couple other employees that hung all these lights on City Hall. So we were responsible for doing that as well, and all the garland and what you'll see on Route 82 now. So we took that project on. We added on another event with Louis Light Exchange, our give back program with Luminosity, where we did a toy drive sort of thing, and I think we estimated we had about 600 to 700 toys that came in, and those will be delivered down to Summit County Children's Services over the next couple weeks. We do have our holiday giving tree going on at the fitness center right now too, where you can take the name tag off the tree and buy the present, and that also benefits Summit County children. Luminosity was this past Saturday, and I just want to thank all the volunteers. It takes a lot of work to put that event on, and it's a good regionalism effort with working with the township, Reminderville, the chamber. Dunkin' Donuts helped us out this year. Final Touch Construction helped us out. It's a big undertaking, a lot of volunteers, asking them to do kind of ridiculous things. A couple of volunteers over here too. So, it's an undertaking, but I think it's one of those truly branded community festival type events that we do, and I'm looking forward to continuing that in the future. Winter Wonderland is this Sunday, so we're indoors this Sunday at the fitness center from 12 to 4. Breakfast with Santa, although it is sold out, it is the following week at the fire department. And like Seth Roden had mentioned, Light the Night is on December 13th up at the community center. Also the senior holiday party, there are a few tickets remaining for that. I think there's only like 3 or 4 if I'm not mistaken, and that is on December 22nd. We are in rehearsals for the theater's production of Willy Wonka. Tickets are on sale, and that will take place at the high school the 3rd and 4th weekend in January. And just a deadline notice for the senior snowplow after November 30th. The price goes to $75. So everyone who wants their senior snowplow needs to have their applications, their payment in before that deadline of November 30th. I do have a couple of personal things I wanted to this will be the last meeting that I'm here before my assistant, Pat Derilla, retires. So she's been with us for 10 years, so I wanted to give her a big shout out to her. She's been amazing for the department, amazing for me, and I don't think a lot of the residents know her exact role, but she's very vital to the operations of our facility, so I wanted to publicly thank her. And I do want to thank Seth and Gary. We've done other crazy stuff together too with what we do in my position with events and helping and asking to do things and donating your time, so I do appreciate that over the many years as well. That's all I have.
Thank you.
That's all I have. That's it.
Okay. Well, that leaves us with legislation. Ordinance 111.
An ordinance accepting the bid of Ray Bertoli Trucking Company Incorporated for the demolition and site restoration project for the property located at 8997 Darrow Road.
And that was the second reading of that ordinance. Resolution 112.
I believe we're passing over this again, is that correct?
I think we're passing over this one.
Passing over?
Yeah.
Okay. Ordinance 113.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the various special revenue accounts as established in Ordinance 108, 2016, the appropriation ordinance for the City of Twinsburg for the year 2017.
That was the second reading there. And ordinance 115.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Twinsburg Township to provide fire protection and emergency medical services.
And that was the second reading on that. Ordinance 117.
An ordinance accepting the bid of M. Campbell Contracting LLC for the 2018 storm sewer and culvert replacement.
And that was the second reading on that as well. Resolution 118.
A resolution authorizing the city to donate certain personal property owned by the City of Twinsburg and no longer needed for municipal purposes to Metro SWAT.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 118, 2017. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Steele, second. Discussion?
This is to donate 10 radios to the Metro SWAT, which are no longer needed, and which we are a part of.
Any other? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cerisi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Resolution 118, 2017 passes 7-0. Ordinance 119.
An ordinance establishing wage increases for the mayor and the non-bargaining unit employees for 2018.
That was the first reading on that ordinance. Ordinance 120.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the various special revenue accounts as established in Ordinance 108, 2016, the appropriation ordinance for the City of Twinsburg for the year 2017.
And that was the first reading on that ordinance. Resolution 121.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Legal Defender's Office of Summit County, Ohio, to provide representation for indigenous defendants.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 121, 2017. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury, second. Roll call, please. Oh, discussion?
This is an annual agreement that we enter into every year.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Resolution 121, 2017 passes 7-0. Ordinance 122.
An ordinance accepting the alternate bid for kitchen equipment of Kavanaugh Building Corporation and approving a change order to upgrade the banquet center kitchen equipment at the golf clubhouse.
That was the first reading on that ordinance. Unfinished business. Mr. Scafidi.
I have no unfinished business tonight. I just want to wish you and Seth, Gary and Seth, good luck in your retirement from council. Good luck in Florida, Gary.
Thank you. That's it. Mrs. Stoffer.
I'd like to wish you well also. We started
Thank you.
8 years ago, so it was a long time. We saved a life.
That's right.
So we had to, I really appreciate everything you guys have done.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything. And also anybody, if the council could email me any committees you may be interested in serving on before next week. If you could.
And your
Good
seating
idea.
preference.
And my, so I can take care of that. And
I'd
that's
like
all.
environmental.
You'd like, I'm gonna keep him on environmental.
You guys too.
But I will miss you guys.
Sound.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks. Mr. Fury.
Thank you. 12 years, you remember my name. Congratulations. I enjoyed working with you.
Thank you.
For 12 years. Seth, good luck to you in the future. Still appreciate all the input that you're going to have with the golf course and the kitchen. I'd also like to give my condolences to the Trill family. Their father, Jack, passed away yesterday. Both Kathy and Mike and the rest of the family have been very involved in the city, and I know that that's been weighing on them a long time, and just wish them the best at this time of their need.
Thank you. Mr. Steele.
I'd like to congratulate both of you.
Thank you.
You're going to have more time on your hands to get out there and enjoy more of your life. Have fun. Gary, I hope you play a lot of golf.
Okay.
I would like to also extend my family's condolences to the Turles. Jack Turle was an amazing guy. A couple of times, 3 or 4 times that I talked to him, he's a good guy. And the last thing, I managed to get up to the golf course today and play some golf, and I was pleasantly surprised with where our clubhouse is at. It's a lot farther along than I actually thought it would get at this time. So, and that's it.
Thank you. Ms. McFerrin.
Well, there's nothing else I can say that anyone else hasn't already said. So it's been a great 2 years working with both of you, and thank you for all your service. For new business, I think we should do the rotation and sometimes start here and go that way. So I'm always the last one. And then anyone who wants to know, our next council meeting's next week. I don't want you to miss it. That's it.
Thank you. Mayor?
Yeah, I've already said my thank you to both of you, but good luck to all of you. And as Ms. McFerrin said, we will have back-to-back council meetings for December. So the next 2 weeks will be council meetings both those weeks. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Maestros, anything?
Yeah, so for those that aren't aware, so we used to have a swearing ceremony was the first regularly scheduled council meeting in December. The Board of Elections doesn't like that, so we ended up having to pick a date, so we have picked December 1st. So this particular Friday, we will have a swearing-in ceremony here at City Hall at 5 p.m. to swear in our new and returning council members. Of course, we'll always do a ceremonial one, our first council meeting, but again, we have to do this official one on Friday evening.
Thank you. Mr. Maestros, anything?
Just briefly, Gary and Seth, I just want to say, thank you guys, both of you, for being so professional in my relationship, my dealing with you guys. I know that the public doesn't see the majority of what you guys do, but both of you get the rare opportunity to go out on your own terms instead of other ways that council people have gone out. And again, just wish both of you the best of luck, and I appreciate everything you've done in my role working with you. Thanks.
Thank you. Shannon, anything?
Just good luck and congrats, and I know I'll see you both around. Maybe Gary not so often, but. And lastly, since the city's Breakfast with Santa is sold out, I'm going to put a little plug in for the Rotaries. Ours is this Saturday at Brewster's. There's a 9 a.m. seating and an 11 a.m. seating, and you can call Brewster's to make a reservation, and if you can do that by Thursday, that would be great.
Thank you. Mr. Rowe.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank a lot of people, so it's going to be a little bit, not long, but I want to start with department heads. Between Dave and Amy, Karen, Chris, Derek, I mean, you guys have all been so instrumental in making me look better up here and smarter up here and know what I'm doing and have an idea of, what goes on daily. I would have no clue otherwise. So I truly appreciate all that you do and a better understanding of what goes on in running a city. I'd also like to thank the council members who helped me get up here. It was a fun time campaigning. We've had crazy stories, walking through parades, things I never thought my name would be on posters and on the side of a car. I mean, there's just things that you don't think of when you run for something, and then you go, really? Oh my gosh. So that's been really fun, and it's been fun up here with everybody through good time, bad time, mad, sad, whatever. It's been good. So I'd also like to thank my family for putting up with me, because I come home and complain about everything that would happen over here, and they listen to me and continue. So to my wife, to my 2 kids, thank you for putting up with me, and won't have as many good stories to tell as far as I'm concerned. And then lastly is to the residents. I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve you in a way that I never thought I would. And I moved here 20 years ago, was never a thought, and I'm glad I did, and it's been truly a pleasure. So, I don't see myself not being involved with things. Ted, I apologize, I didn't mean to leave you out. I want to thank you for your new role, because it's been a lot different working with you as a mayor opposed to as a council. Also want to thank Mayor Prokop, because I feel like she was very instrumental in helping me get here as well. But again, it's been truly a great ride, and I look forward to what the future holds. So I know the city will continue to strive, and thank you very much. It's been great. Thank you.
And I also would like to thank my colleagues up here and those that I've served with over the years, the city employees, as Seth mentioned. Thank you for your support, your information, and the ability to work together and get a lot of good things done. And again, thanks to the residents for your support and the information that you relayed to us. I've always said this ever since I started in this position. We can't know everything that goes on out there, and without the residents letting us know. A good example was tonight with the issues with that company. There's things we just don't know, and we can't know unless people keep this council informed of what's going on. So thank you to the residents for your support over the years. I believe this city is in a great spot, and you're in very good hands with the people that are up here and those that are coming in. I wish you continued success and continued good fortune for this city. Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned.
You should have used the new one.